Hello viewers, Flash Motorsport here and welcome to Yas Marina. Now we've had our rotation, we're on different tracks and shorter races again, so hopefully one set of medium tyres will be enough. But as the title says, I'm looking back at the last month, maybe two at a push, but I would say definitely more after Christmas, that the Forza racing standard has been much better. I'm not getting absolutely impaled like I used to get against the wall or onto the dirt, nothing like that. Yeah, we had a few hiccups here and there, you know, people stuck to the racing line and things like that. But overall, I'm finding the racing a lot cleaner and people being a lot more considerate, and you're getting some really great battles. These next few races are a perfect example of it. But let me know down in the comments below if you think the Forza racing standards are improving. Also, if you do enjoy what you see here, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. It massively helps out the channel. Anyway, on to the race. As we're coming down to our first corner, everybody started moving over to the right hand side of the track. Get a better line. I keep to the left hand side and try and keep away from the chaos to an extent. There's only a tiny little bit of it, it's not too bad, it's just people bottlenecking up. But we gain a few places here. Moving up to P14, we start catching up to the cars in front and leaving a good substantial gap to the cars behind. I come in braking and I'm about to hit this Volkswagen, but I just miss it. No idea how. It was just pure luck. I wasn't expecting them to cut across and try and aim for that apex as much as they did. But we have a better exit coming down the back straight. Thus, we are now catching up to the cars in front. I'm sticking behind the MG because I know it's faster than the Civic. Try to get a bit of slipstream. Move over to the left hand side. Brake early so I could clip the apex on the inside and keep nice and tight in. MG comes over in front of me, clips the apex. Obviously, they wouldn't have known I was there unless they were in chase cam. So that is a little bit of door banging. It's not a problem. You can imagine if I was in that same view, the bonnet view, or if they're in car view, they'll never have seen me to the left hand side. That's why a good old radar system or a crew chief calling out something would be quite useful. But no harm, no foul. A bit of door banging is a bit of fun. Coming over, we're getting squeezed a little bit, so I squeeze them over to the right hand side as well. And I decided to back out of this next corner. I thought I'd rather not have another banging incident. Let them take that place. I'll come down here. I have a better exit out of this corner here, down the back straight, and I can make the move there. Coming down the back straight again, I start overtaking the MG to my right hand side. I've tuned the car up a bit more for acceleration side of it, and it clearly benefited me. Braking at the 100 board, just before the 100 board, I come in a little bit deep here, so if this is where the 100 board braking line is, and if you want a tight entry, just brake just before it and you get a nice tight entry. But I saw the MG come to the inside and I literally just burned the tyres just to keep in front, and I gained that position. Now that 0.8 seconds behind me away from the slipstream. Braking again at the 100 board over this curb. You can really abuse that in a curb. You just be mindful, don't hit the fence. Coming over the curb again, use the curb to your advantage to bring the car around. Coming over to the right hand side, let off the throttle, let the car coast around and the back end kick out. And then once you are straight, hit that brake pedal as hard as you can down to second gear. Like I say, make sure you are straight and the car is stable, else the back end will come and round and overtake you. Anyway, next move I've got to make is on Apex Boon. Coming down here, getting a slipstream behind them again. Looking up at the 100 board, braking just before it, down to second gear. I go up the inside and give myself a little penalty. Going up a little bit too deep this time, a little bit too tight on the inside. I do make the position work, but I'll give myself a 0.8 second penalty. So be mindful of that, don't go over the curb like I did. Again, coming over the start finish line, looking on the right hand side for the 100 board, braking down to third gear, over the inside curb, and power back on out the other side, and keep your toe down to going round this next corner here. You can keep it flat out, and then as soon as you come to this curb here, just let it coast round, let the back end overtake you a little bit like that, braking down to second gear, and power on again. You're going to have a bit of wheel spin, and then over this curb, brake, down to second gear, and as soon as you go straight again, power back on down the other side. Skipping ahead to the final lap, not much has happened besides the car that was in front of me pitted. Must have been on soft tyres, but they pitted just after that last lap, which gives me P7 position. I do have a 0.8 second penalty, but the Peugeot I overtook earlier is 5 seconds behind me. So we've been making quite a lot of gains here, but my tyres are pretty worn. Anyway, braking down the second gear, being quite cautious. You see, I turned in and then cancelled the turn and turned again after I turned in a little bit too early. It's quite an easy mistake to make. We've all done it. Anyway, we'll come down to the last bit of the back straight. My tyres are quite well worn, but it's not a problem. I think everybody's tyres are pretty knackered after that. We have been scrubbing them quite aggressively, especially these next two corners here, or this one long corner if you want to call it that as well. It can really destroy your tyres. If you come around here and you power back on, you can really cook them up like I am now, and as soon as you come over to the right hand side to turn right here, you seem to cool them back down again. But anyway, got the fireworks out for us, looking beautiful. P7 position, on to the next race. We're at Maple Valley. Now there's not many people in this race. I think there's a total of 5 of us. We all qualified and we all had pretty much the same time, bar a few tenths of a second here and there. So it's going to be a very tight and enjoyable race. But right now I've had a great start off the line, but I've got the outside line of this first curve. The issue with that being is the outside line is not grippy whatsoever, so like you see I'm falling back here. Everybody else has got the better line, using the pit exit for fat tighter rotation and better lineup for here. Braking down to about 4th gear, powering back on. You can take now the rest of this track flat out here until you cross over the other side of the bridge. But I'll try and make a move on the Astra. I am much quicker than the Astra, and I want to get behind the Audi and get a bit of their slipstream. I'll go over the curb here, trying to give the Astra a bit of space. As soon as you cross the bridge, braking down to 4th gear, let it curve round and then tap it down to 3rd gear to bring the extra rotation round. Powering back on. As soon as you get to the white sign on the right hand side, braking down to 3rd gear again. Take the inner side of the line. I again gave a bit more room for the Astra and power back on. Now keep your foot down through here. And you come this turn on the left hand side, try and rub that curb, there we go, just like that. And you can keep your foot down because the bank massively helps you out. Now go through here as steady as you can. As soon as you come under that bridge, let off the throttle, let the car coast round, because if you keep the power on, you'll end up going straight into the barrier. Anyway, now this is quite a technical fast part of the track. I let off through these corners here. It's more of a case trying to get the car to rotate and not going to the grass, because as soon as you hit that grass, that's it, you're going straight to the wall. It's not worth it. Coming down here flat out, rub that in the curb, and see how much quicker I am to the Audi. I've had a hell of a boost coming down that hill, and as soon as you come out into the open here, braking down to 4th gear, let the car coast round. Now this corner is not my strong point, as you can see. I've got everybody all at my backside, so I decided to use the pit, and I go into the pit a little bit early, thus the banking threw me off my projection. Anyway, braking down 3rd gear, a little bit too slow. Now I decided to let the Audi take that position, and I took in behind the Audi. I'd rather be behind the Audi and keeping pace than trying to set a pace and making silly mistakes here and there and then capitalising off it. But as we come over to the side of the bridge, braking and keep the Audi forced to the outside of the track. And as I've got the inside line, the Audi understeers a little bit and goes onto the grass, which benefits me a good bit, but surprisingly they came back on the track in quite a good, strong position. I got a little bit distracted in the rearview mirror watching the Audi come back on, see where they were placed, thus makes me lose on this corner. But looking where they all are now, I can take this corner nice and tight, flat out, over the curb, powering on, and then start letting it coast around about 95 to 90 miles per hour. As soon as you're under that bridge, let it off and then power back on again. Like I say, this is quite a technical part of the track. You want to take it as flat out as you can, keep that speed as high as you can, but let off in some of the corners to try and let that car rotate round. Now as you come through here, this next bit you just take flat out, just keep your foot right in it, rub that curb on the left hand side. As soon as you see where you can turn right, try and rub that inner curb and keep your foot down. Problem is now I've got the cars behind me quite close and gaining on the slipstream. As soon as the track opens up, braking down to 4th gear, and again, like I say, this corner's not my strong suit. But whilst I got a better exit than they have, I decided to do the old switcheroo. We have a little door banging and pushes them down to P3. The Audi that came off the track earlier is right up behind me. Like I say, they must have a better setup than I do. I've got to have a look at my setup and see if I can maximise the corner potential a bit more than what I have at the moment. But anyway, it's a drag race up to the next turn. The issue is they have the inside line. I get pushed over to the right a little bit. the shoes on the other foot this time around. I back out the corner and let them take that position. Again, like I said, I don't want to battle too much, and we've got to think about tyre wear here as well. If we're battling and fighting each other as much as we are, we're going to eat through our tyres. I did bang into the Audi on the inside, didn't realise on the inside of me, which pushes me quite a bit down the track. Fritz in P5 has left the race, so they're on a DNF. And like I say, right now I'm in P4 position. The car in front of me has a 0.2 second penalty. So really I'm looking at a point of now capitalising on that penalty, as well as trying to gain back a bit of time here. We'll let them three battle it out. We've got 2 more laps of this and see if we can gain a position whilst they're fighting each other. Skipping ahead to the start of the last lap. I don't know what happened with the Astra, but I think they must have gone into the wall or something. The tyres must have been dead. Or being stuck behind a slipstream of a P1 position. I say massively affects your overall grip. As you can see, my tyres are absolutely, yeah, they've been heavily abused. So I'm trying to take it easy whilst also trying to gain a position. You see P2 is at a 0.5 second ahead of me, and we have a long way on this track to go yet. So like I say, it's a very fast track with very tight corners, so you really are giving your tyres quite a rough time. In hindsight, I should have actually gone for the hard tyres on this track. Really, it's such a tough call to make, because on this last lap I would have massively benefit on the hard tyres, but the previous 4 laps where we was all very tight and fighting each other, I would have been at the back of the pack just trying to keep up. And would they have really created that much of a gap away from me that I wouldn't have been able to catch up in this last lap? I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Should I have gone for hards and tried it out, or is it better to suffer on the last lap and make it work like I am right now? As you can see, I've caught up to P2. The issue I've got now is my tyres are absolutely just, they're dead. I'm having to let off now, let that car go. I've gone off the track, I can't get the car to turn, and it's just awful. Luckily enough though, the Astra backs off for me in reality. They didn't try and push past me, and this is what I mean about the issue of the slipstream. The Astra behind me, who was all over me and catching me up, gets into my slipstream, they can't turn and went straight into the wall. So like I say, you got to be very mindful of the slipstream on this game, because you are working with reduced grip. Moving on to Laguna Seca, I did qualify, I got P6 position. It wasn't my best qualifying, I didn't really push it all that hard. But the guys in P1 did very well. They were about 2 seconds quicker than me, so I know I've got a good battle ahead of me. But I decided again to work it out on medium tyres. Starting towards the middle of the pack, you want to have a tyre advantage to an extent. But again, like you see, the first corner where it all usually happens is nothing happening. Again, I do clip the car to my left hand side, but I did not see that vehicle there before I turned. I should have actually checked. It's so hard to hear other cars around with that Hyundai just farting in your ear. I take that corner way too slow. Should have done it about 90 miles per hour, but what I've created now is a bottleneck with the cars behind. So I benefited from that, so I can't grumble at that. Going through the corkscrew, we are trying to catch up to the Audi and the Hyundai. I just want to get past that Hyundai. It's the most annoying car noise in the game. I'm sorry, I've got to keep complaining about it. But anyway, as we finish in our first lap, we are in P5 position, so we have gained 1 position overall. These two have a little bit of a nudging fest, gives me chance to catch up again. The Audi misses a gear, and I benefit again from that. I go up the inside, take that position, and coming down here. Now you're looking right here, 200 board, braking down the 4th gear, looking about 110 miles an hour over that curve and powering back on. Be mindful, not much more than 110 you are on the breakneck of the corner. After they go flat out again up to just before the 200 board, braking down the 3rd gear, 95 miles per hour into that inner part of the curb, let the dip, rotate the car around and power on at the other side. Now away I take this corner a second now, I brake at the 300 board, down the 3rd gear, and then I let off and then brake as I go crest over the top of the hill. So I let off and brake again down the 2nd gear. It's a bit of a weird way of doing it, but I find it seems to work quite well for me, so I've just kept on doing it. Now coming down here, you want third gear and try and clip that inner curb much better than I did. I completely missed it. But coming up now, braking at 200 board down the second gear into the curb and power back on out the other side. Coming out a little bit wider and trying to push the Hyundai out and away from me. I am quick in a straight line, but as you can see now they're in my toe and I'm still getting away from them, which is absolutely brilliant. Again, looking out for the 200 marker, braking down to fourth gear, over the curb a little bit, let the curb try and rotate the car. You may slide a little bit like I just did. It was all controllable if you're doing it at about 110 miles per hour. I'd say the Hyundai did it quicker than I did. I think the Hyundai has better rotation and turning, but not in a brute force and speed. I'm 10 miles per hour slower through that turn. As you see, the Hyundai is right up behind me again now. It's quite, I find it quite sometimes a bit difficult to get that turn just right. And this is where I braked a bit late. The Hyundai breathing all over me, getting distracted, braking late, and this is what happens when I brake late on that corner. That's why I do the two-step braking. Anyway, coming over to your left-hand side again, down to third gear, braking into that inner curb, powering back on. As soon as you're halfway through that curb and you're about to that sausage on the right side, just power on. Braking at 100 board, turning in, and powering back on out the other side. You can really go quite far over. Not as much as the Fearless Foggy did, but you can really go quite far over. Try and make a move on Fearless Foggy here, and they are pressing me to the outside a bit, and I don't want to be in that position, so I back out and let off. The MG in front comes through here a little bit slowly, so I try and take a position, but they are defending quite aggressively. So as I move back over to the right, I take the inside line, and they cut across in front of me. So a bit of an incident there. They go off track, and the Hyundai capitalizes on it for a whole of a few seconds. Kudos to the Hyundai. They managed to keep it under control. That was a very, very good save. So congratulations to that person for the incredible save. Round of applause. Anyways, we're coming through the corkscrew again, down the second gear, let the tyres spin up a little bit, come over to your right hand side, into fourth gear, let the car coast round, clip that inner curb and power back on as soon as you clip that inner curb. Keep to your left hand side, again, braking, down the third gear. I could have done this a little bit faster. I'm going to clip that inner curb and carry as much speed as you can. Braking at 200 board, down the second gear. The Hyundai looks up the inside, but again I have brute force and speed to pull my way out of this situation. Looking ahead, P1 and P2 are just over 3 seconds ahead of me. Yes, I have penalties, but I've got to find 3 seconds to catch them. It's not going to be easy with 2 laps remaining. Coming through here, 110 miles per hour still, absolutely brilliant. So I am keeping a good bit of pace up. Like I say, it's more of a case of try and keep your pace up and try and making that time. But you can see now they're 3.5 seconds away. So they are quicker to an extent than I am being right now. I go through there too slowly, 10 miles per hour too slow. I could have done that a bit quicker. And these little silly mistakes do cost a little bit of time. Again, braking at 200, 300 board and letting off and braking again. Coming through here and basically trying to maximize my abilities through this track. The Hyundai is breathing down me. They are keeping up and it's adding pressure to the situation. Within this next corner, the Audi does an awesome slide through this corner. Doesn't manage to keep hold of it and goes off the track, but great start to the slide. At the angle they had, brilliant. Anyway, we're now 1 second away from the Audi and 3 seconds away from the 2 cars in front. So we have gained time through the last sector of the track. Can I make it back in 2 laps? It's hard to tell. They are quicker going through this first sector of the track than the latter sector of the track. What I'm hoping for is them to battling it out in front, thus me being able to catch up to them. Again, braking at the 200 board, 95 miles per hour and through there. Coming up the hill, looking out for the 300 board again. Braking down to third gear, let off, but then back on the brakes again. It's quite a quick succession, so it's best to look at the braking marker on the rev counter than what I'm saying it as. But we're still 1 second away from the Hyundai behind me and still 3 seconds away from the cars in front, so our pace is quite on par with each other. So they're going to be a miracle is going to happen for me to be able to gain that position back. As we start our final lap, we're still having better splits each race, which is quite good. It means I'm getting better. 0.123, so 1/10 faster than any of my previous laps. So the best is 106 at the moment. Can't grumble at that. Now my tyres are starting to wear. You see I just had the offside front tyre come up with a yellow marker, not a good sign. So I've got to try and back off a little bit and not push so hard. I'd rather retain my position and have the car behind catching up. And there's my first issue right there. Both tyres are now gone. You can see I've lost half a second and the Hyundai gained half a second. Not a good start, not a good start. But breaking through here, through the corkscrew, I'm going to defend like the best I can. I'm going to defend it. I'm not going to give up this position. I want the podium again. And coming through here, I'm making a bit of a gap. I can see them in the mirror, they're breathing down me, but they're not going to push. I get a better exit through that corner, braking down the second gear, turning in. Bit of smoke from the cars in front, but they're still only 3 seconds away. So, got a podium finish though. Started in 6th place, finished in 3rd place on the podium. Happy days, a round of applause all around. Thank you all for watching, and I shall see you all in the next video. Bye bye.